Amazing morning and welcome to Ways Breakfast, #What Are You Saying? The ultimate breakfast show for young and vibrant minds. Happy holidays and happy Easter Monday. The workers have had such a long holiday and for some reason they are excited about it. I don't know about me. Look at it. We're here at the studio to serve you breakfast as usual, hot and premium this morning. Well, as I always say, if we don't give you, how will you take it? This is to tell you why you should kickstart your mornings with us every day as we dive into thought-provoking conversations on politics and national interests, trending issues and social commentary, physical and mental wellness, total wellness inclusive, tech trends and innovations, financial literacy, and of course, youth empowerment. You can tune in every Monday morning to Friday for fresh perspectives, engaging discussions, and inspiring stories. Remember, you are the main ingredient in this conversation. I am Okikiola Taiwo Jaloko, and I welcome you to the show specially as your host this morning. And you know I'm never here alone. I have God's Beauty here with me, serving beauty as usual. Good morning, God's Beauty.
Good morning, Okiki. How are you?
I need people to know that God's Beauty has the best reels. Like, if you need a real part, if you want to be in a relationship, like a good relationship with someone, God's Beauty is your go-to. She makes the weekend worthwhile. So how are you doing this morning?
I'm beautiful, Okiki. How are you?
I'm fine. Oh,
How's your Easter going?
I don't do Easter.
Away.
We are here, but we're grateful. We're grateful for the holiday. We're grateful for the essence of the holiday.
Yeah.
We're grateful for being alive to even experience the holiday to start with. Whether we're at home, we're here, we're at the studio, everything like that. But it's a loving weather. I think because it comes with the rain and this soft weather, it now makes it look like snow that is supposed to be, but not snow. But snow should not fall. We're good.
No,
we're all right.
We're managing zero now, so we'll manage that.
Well, okay, we're all right. But it was a great one for me, and then we're here again this morning.
I like that. I mean, mine wasn't bad either. I was, just
Did you
like
shop
you said.
chicken?
Away. I mean, a lot of that. Protein, salad. I mean, we don't have all of those things in normal, setting. We see you call the chop. But yeah, he was interested, with the family and all. So yeah, it was incredible actually.
I spent time with family too. It's just that it came with billings.
Away.
You
Is there any time you spend time with family that doesn't come with billings?
Maybe.
Me, I have to run.
Do you think that we should now start looking at how family time is not really costing
too much? The least you can do is draw a budget, actually. I feel like that's
so you cannot
where
escape
it works.
not spending.
No, it's not possible. Actually, again, it depends on the position you are in the family. First child, first born, first daughter, first everything. What do you expect? If you don't spend money, who will? Do you understand? Exactly.
You know, I'm laughing because the internet will tell you, person will not get work. I be poor man, no waiting God do for him.
My guy.
Because the rich people are suffering. But I think that we should still look at how family time can not necessarily strain the person who is the richest or who can afford these things, because it sort of makes the person, in the long run, the person might not enjoy the calmness of family time.
True.
And they want to start avoiding family friends and all of that. So I think that for some ways, maybe there should be a leveling ground or some form of balance for people who can afford and still love to spend time with their family.
Like I said, it would be more of like budget for me. I feel like, when you draw a particular amount and say, okay, all of us, look, people should look, I don't have too much money, this is what I have. I think they'll be able to stick with that. Then people can now find, something to buy or something to eat and all of that. Just in that amount that you've allocated for it. But when you just say, let's go and eat, you will spend a lot.
I will stop you. If you tell me, let's go.
We are going to go.
We will go. And it's you that forced me out of that place. I have to make sure that I'm secured for the week. But we're grateful for the weekend. We're grateful for the new week. We're grateful for the fact that April is ending. Like play. Second Q2, as the corporate people always call it, is now getting closer to the end. But this Monday morning, We always talk about conversations around Nigeria and all its spheres of affairs, and today counts as one of those days. But first, if you're yet to subscribe to our YouTube channel at Official Upgrade TV, please click that subscribe button now, like and share the link. Today, we're discussing a proposal that is sparking debate across the nation, and which is the NDLEA's mandatory drug testing for National Youth Service Corps members. What do you think about that? The fact that NDLEA is now involved and are proposing that there's drug testing for National Youth Corps members. But we'll go on a quick break right now, and when we return, we'll go straight into the topic right after the headlines across the globe. Please stay with us. Well, glad to have you back from that break. Now, let us take a look at the news from today's papers. We have The Punch, The Vanguard, and, of course, The New York Times, as I love to go abroad first because home is home. So I always like us to come back home after doing the holidays and the vacay in the abroad. So Godspeed is going to take us with our aeroplane. I mean, is it fighter jet? Which one is it?
No, on the news that we have here, I think it's airplane, please. Because I like the fact that, you know, there's calmness. With all the things that's going on with
There's
Trump,
no calmness on this Nigerian newspaper.
That's the problem. But we'll take this one first. All right, straight into the New York Times newspaper. The main headline is screaming, 8 cards hit Hungary in a city of shellfire and starvation. Right column, we have justice block deportation of new group of migrants. The mid-right, we have, that's the media headline there. We have Trump tears at United States bonds with colleges. Then bottom center, Italians fear Americans' pilot will settle for Italian sounding. Then the left column, that's the last headline on the newspaper. We have the firefighter with OCD and the vaccine he dreaded. So I want to talk on this headline that says justice block deportation of new group of migrants. So we have here the United States Supreme Court told the government to pause a plan of to deport a group of 50 migrants. These people were going to be sent away under a special wartime law that lets the government quickly remove non-citizens during national emergencies. Now, this is important because it shows that the court is questioning the government's power to use extreme laws meant for war to handle regular immigration issues. If the court says no, it could protect many more immigrants in the future from fast-track deportation. People are worried that if the government is allowed to keep using these wartime powers, it might be used unfairly against innocent people, skipping the usual legal process that could even become dangerous in the long run, especially if future leaders misuse it. Now, I feel like it's important that we have a conversation about this because, again, we knew how, you know, Trump entered, when he entered, and one of the first things he was doing was telling all the immigrants to go back to, you know, their country and all of that. And right now, they are not just, you know, doing that. I feel like Trump is just eager to tell people, I mean, people that are not, you know, citizens of America to go back to their country, right? I feel like it's eager to the extent that he has to bring out this particular law. So this particular law called, let me get that again, called the Special Wartime Law, is a law that actually helps, you know, a country when they're in war, like, you know, certain kind of emergencies, right? In order for citizens of not that is not in like citizens of the country, non-citizens of the country rather, to, you know, leave the country, and they can be able to protect, you know, the citizens and know exactly what is causing the war and all of that. Do you understand? And I think that is also going to be very helpful because, again, when you have, you know, citizens that are not non-citizens that are in a country, right? And, you know, something like war happens, you can literally have issues with other countries because, again, they would actually think that you're not protecting their own citizens. And I don't know if you get what I'm saying. Yeah. So that particular, you know, policy is actually brought in to help, you know, I mean, the particular country that is at war and all. But right now, I mean, the United States is not at war. So tell me why Trump is using such policy now, because he just wants, you know, immigrants to leave the country. And I think I like, you know, what the Supreme Court have done. They've stopped him and they've told him that, I mean, they've put it on the pause for now. That instead of, going through this route, there's no war, there's nothing happening. So why are you sending these people illegally, right? Just follow the normal process. They're immigrants, we get it. And you want them to leave your country, we get it. But follow the process instead of, using policies or initiatives like the war, whatever.
He can tamper laws. It's easy for him to wake up in the morning. That's the same
That's
issue
the
that
problem.
we're currently having,
Yeah.
even in Nigeria, where the president or whoever can wake up in the morning and just be like,
decide,
I scrap this,
yeah.
I introduce this, I stamp this, I impose this. So it's looking like it's a copy and pasting even in the Western this thing. But I'm now starting to look at how we can now, maybe, if Oluchi was here, she would have laughed about it. If we can now, the way one of our guests was talking about how the police was, or the inception of the police was more like to oppress people. What if the idea of democracy that the West introduced to us is also what we are literally
seeing, right?
Not just seeing, that's what we are also putting out there.
Right.
So maybe there should be a restructuring.
Of
democracy.
I've said it so many times, and that's why I give kudos to the United States Supreme Court, because again, I'm just looking at if it's in Nigeria, would something like that have happened?
It could.
I'm so sorry, but I don't think so. You look at how, they literally just told the guy, we hear you, but please, we need to put this initiative in the pause. Because again, like I said, the country is not at war with anybody. So why exactly are you using such initiative? Honestly, I like it. See, we've come to that particular conclusion that, the executive arm of government, the powers, it needs to be cut. I'm so sorry, yeah. Because again, see, honestly, there's nothing like check and balance. Just imagine. Because there's check and balance. That's the reason why the judiciary can step up and say, okay, you see this thing, we don't want it. But even with the check and balance, there are certain things that still go wrong. So yeah, honestly speaking, I like this move, and I just wish that we will see more of this often, because some kind laws, where would they see Trump, they do.
Better to have the executive and the legislature, or the different forms of arms than to not have any.
Right.
But that's all we have. We've spent enough holidays in the abroad. So coming back to Nigeria, I'm going to be starting off with the Punch newspaper, and the headline reads, Interest Boom. 9 local banks generate 14 trillion naira from loans. How banks profited from lending in 12 months amid economic pressure. Below that, we have the story that reads, State Police off agenda as NEC meets Thursday. Another story here says, Judgment Analysis. Report me to LPDC. Final dares Wike. And that's very interesting. We have another story here that says, indebted retirees risk losing homes, says federal government. Above the mast, we have emergency. PDP governors get Supreme Court's hearing date this week. Presidency pushes back as Bakare Kuka criticized Tinubu's policies. And the last but not the least story here says, killings. Shetima visits Plateau today as Danjuma calls for self-defense. And this one is a very sad story in Plateau and in a lot of other states that are being attacked by ungun men, because as the popular Nigerian slang would say it. And it's a very sad news, because I watched over the weekend how they were expressing how these people were killed, tagging Fulani herdsmen, complaining about grazing, why grazing should not exist, why they should now be, if you cannot graze in your own state, don't enter people's border, don't go into people's farm where they have crops for livelihood to now start grazing. So I don't know how Nigeria will really balance grazing and livestock, where people are protected either way, both the herdsmen and even the farmers, how they can find the balance. Because I've seen so many policies online talking about how they want to balance grazing, how even some people who are in power are saying that if you find, you can enter any farmland, anything can happen. If anybody stops you, wipe the person from the face of the earth, which is a very sad thing coming from people that are meant to be mentors, that are meant to be authorities in their individual spaces. So I totally condemn all of these killings, and I think that they should not even exist. But there's some similar stories here on the Guardian newspaper, so I'll just pick another story on the Guardian news that we can talk about.
Okay.
And they say that high cost order cuts 62% off internet access in Nigeria and others. And to be honest, I need to talk about this internet thing. I am tired of doing data. It is not even a funny thing. I'm tired of doing data. I don't think data is meant for me. I think we should go back to the ice age, where we will not need to use the internet and anything again. I can't be doing data. Or maybe we'll bring the satellites close to us down here on Earth and use. Internet has become so expensive.
Yeah.
Calling people have become so expensive. It has strained a lot of things, from relationship to friendships to even work-life balance, where you're supposed to be able to do something effectively. But you have done 10 gig in less than 10 minutes, especially Airtel. I'm talking to you, Airtel.
I like that.
Straight. Oops. Every time, oops, your data finished. Oops, what? Oh, yeah, renew it for me now. And every time, you just say, oops, 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 your data finished. But this is all I can say on the news this morning. I don't know if God Sweetie has a contribution.
On the data thing, yeah, I really don't know where we should. I think there needs to be a balance that should be created on this one, because, again, we hear them when they say that, they have not been making money for a long time now, and that's why there was, an increase with the tariff and all. But, guys, it's affecting everybody. Like, no jokes. You buy data today, the next 1 minute it's finished, and you're asking yourself what exactly is going on. I mean, you can't literally even work. The annoying part, it is one thing to get data. It's another thing to even, be able to work with it. I have to keep my phone very, very close, outside, right, so that I can be able to work. That's crazy.
That there's actually there's the data cost has increased. There's not very terrible bad
network. What's going on?
Telecommunication, people should do better.
No, they need to. Honestly speaking,
you people must where you push to on it too, because I don't understand anymore.
You know the joke a friend of mine told me was, okay, imagine having to, how it is to get a house and all of that. Now you finish renting an apartment and all, and network is outside. So you so you spend over $1 million, my guy, to be able to. Do you understand? Then you get into your house, you cannot literally work, cannot do anything. There's no network and all. The network is outside. Just make it make sense to me. But that's on the light side. Honestly speaking, I think that it needs to be worked on. Honestly.
Well, that's all we have on today's newspaper. I hope you learned a thing or two. If you want to go to their, I think their pages are available. You could get the traditional newspaper. You could go online to read more stories about what's happening in Nigeria and, of course, internationally. We'll go on a quick break right now, and when we return, we'll go straight into our topic for today. Please stay with us.
Tell us you're a Nigerian without saying a word. Energy security is one of the most pressing issues for many developing countries like Nigeria. And if there's going to be any meaningful progress, addressing our energy issues is non-negotiable.
I need to see light for my house. Make them do something.
Band A is expensive. I literally have to turn off all my appliances just to reduce costs.
We need light.
Introducing the Energy Outlook, your go-to show for everything energy. Every week, we'll bring you the latest insights, innovation, and in-depth analysis of Nigeria's energy sector. From policy discussions to regulatory insights, we'll analyze the key decisions influencing growth and sustainability in the energy sector. We'll bring you the human stories behind the headlines, giving you a personal perspective on the broader energy challenges. Join me every Friday at 6 p.m. for the Energy Outlook, your guide to the future of energy, where energy means business.
Welcome back to the show. I forgot to say something when I started, and that is to say thank you. I wanted to give a shout out to Arsenal for making me happy over the weekend. I know some haters are going to be watching and be like, that's your club. But whatever, we are just swiping and winning. We are winning. So Asna, shout out to you. Thank you for being part of my happiness. Abby, because this is like, what's this girl talking
What's
about?
going on? No. See, I like it for you. I used to be part of those persons that used to, watch football and all of that. I mean, I went to my baba's shop on, I think on Saturday or so. And we're watching, different club. I mean, I was just watching and see how the guys here, some are agitated, some are like, my money don't burn, and all of those things. I like it. I like, watching it and all, but I'm not 100% fan.
I don't do bets, but if you want me to watch, don't. Sometimes I avoid watching football because they're like, "Nah, guess she be now." I'm like, so it's a very weird thing, but this is just saying
it's not
shout
weird.
out
That's
to
the thing. I like it.
Not London forever. For this reason, I am both Nigerian and from North London.
Wahala.
Exactly. But this morning, as I said, we're going to be talking about the debate about NDLEA proposing mandatory drug testing for NYSC members. We will discuss the potential outcomes and implications. I think I should take us through some of the potential outcomes before I allow the viewers also say something. And the NDLEA is also proposing that this mandatory testing could identify core members who are struggling with addiction and allowing for intervention and support. They're also saying that this prospect of testing might deter core members from using drugs. We also have where they are suggesting that for the sake that they are future employment coup, we're going to have where it could improve workplace safety. That is identifying drug users who could enhance workplace safety, particularly in high-risk sectors. We have potential implications, also talking about mandatory testing, which is raising concerns about core members' right to privacy. They're also talking about stigmatization and discrimination, where they're talking about how positive test results might lead to stigma, affecting core members' self-esteem and future opportunities. We also have issues where they're talking about the implications being an issue of resource allocation, where implementing and enforcing mandatory testing will require significant resources, looking at how many thousands of NYSC core members we have yearly, even monthly, if we could put it like that. They're also talking about the effectiveness and follow-up, where testing alone might not address underlying issues, and the follow-up support and treatment will be very crucial in tackling this issue. Well, they're also talking about the implications of legal and ethical considerations, where mandatory testing could raise legal and ethical questions regarding consent, confidentiality, and human rights. We're going to be talking and emphasizing on the alternative approaches that we can put, from education to counseling and support programs, that might be more effective in addressing drug abuse. We're also going to be talking about maybe support systems, how these NYSC core members can have access to support systems or services, treatment, rehabilitation, and all these things that could be, essential, and how even a clear policy framework will be needed to guide implementation and ensure fairness and protect core members' rights. This is really a lot, and the fact that NDLEA is proposing this thing is sort of a very complex and multifaceted issue. So I believe that, as we always preach on this table, how we can have a balanced approach, considering both the benefits and the challenges, which is going to be very necessary. And, well, that's why God's Beauty and I are here, of course. And you are amazing viewers. We would love for you to contribute to this conversation. So first of God's Beauty,
yes,
when you read about the proposal from NDLEA testing NYSC members for whether drug abuse or drug use or anything in that sense, how did you feel about it? Do you think that this is a good initiative?
I think it's a good initiative if it's properly implemented, which is, a problem we have in this country. We do certain things and we just keep it surface, instead of looking at, just like you said, just the positive and both the negative as well. Because in as much as it's looking very good, if we have the wrong persons do the implementation, it will go south. So honestly speaking, I think it's a good initiative. Just yesterday, right? I was having a conversation with someone, and while having this conversation, a woman worked in, right? And the person I was having a conversation with was like, she was speaking to the woman, and like, oh, I saw that this your son. I was trying to speak to him, I was trying to tell him that, oh, I was looking for you and all, and the way he, told me to shut up and just told me to like go away and if you're looking for my mother, go somewhere else and all. And she was more like complaining to the woman that came in, right? And the woman was like, oh, no vex, so say na prayer now we need the kind hand where they, according to her, the kind hand where they when they talk say they in head and no, we don't they pray, but nothing they work. Now, why I felt like it was important to bring out that scenario, because again, when I was hearing the both of them have like the conversation, it just came up that this boy in question he's a smoker. The guy who does everything on drugs. Do you understand? But here, this is the woman thinking that there's a spiritual whatever.
Attack.
Exactly. So you see that even when we talk about drug abuse and the misuse of drugs and all of that, it just feels like a lot of people don't even know what it's about. Because when if you see the woman where she was talking and all, so like, oh, mama, we need to pray, because she was speaking to one of my mama. She's like, oh, mama, we need to pray. Mama, now my madness then send give this boy, not this, not that. I'm not saying there cannot be any spiritual whatever to it, but again, most of the times it's always because these guys are all on drugs. These guys take anything takeable, the likes of ice, the what, anything at all, anything on the street, anything in the street, anything that will make them feel a certain way. They take it. Do you understand? So honestly, when I saw this initiative, I love it so much, because I don't think it should just be for the NYSC members alone. Take it down to the universities, take it down to secondary schools, because that's where you even start from. Again, I'm having this conversation, I'm saying this thing this way because I'm coming from a place where that if you're not taking drugs, or if you're not into that kind of lifestyle, you're not a baller, you're not one of them. Do you understand? If you're in Ajegule, you have to have certain kind of, you have to be in a certain kind of frequency. You have to be high on certain things for them to even see you as, oh, this one jazz, this one got today, this one they involved. Do you understand? So honestly speaking, when I saw this initiative, I think it's a good one. Again, implementation. If it's implemented properly, I mean, why not?
I personally also think that it's a good initiative. But as I already highlighted, that there are the potential outcomes and also the implications of these things. But now, talking about how this testing can even stop or deter people from going into drug use, or even from coming into the NYSC with maybe an history of drug use or drug abuse. But I've seen in cases where I have done my NYSC, and I saw cases where some people smuggled these things into the camp. So there's the testing that could be done where you can do that you're sober for maybe a few months. So when they test you for these things, that's even if our test kits are effective.
Right.
Right? You might be. So that's one of the things that we also need to highlight.
It's part of the implementation as well.
Let's assume that those test kits are going to be very effective. And then you test, after staying sober for a month, you are being tested before going for your NYC. You are free and you're going, but you smuggle these things in.
Right.
So is there going to be a case of when you're going in, you're going to get tested, and when you're going back out, you have to get tested, so they know that you are not also, the idea of workplace safety, you're not taking that drug abuse or drug use into the likes of your place of primary assignment and all of these things. So do you think that that's going to be like the most effective thing to deter people from like drug use or drug abuse, that's this mandatory testing?
So when we talk about implementation, right, it's coming from the fact that you have all the adequate or necessary tools to carry out this initiative. Do you understand? You have the people that can actually carry out this initiative. Then we'll not talk about, the way or the style at which you want to take in carrying out this. See, all of these things are part of what will make a particular initiative work. And that's why we're talking about the implementation. Do you get? So if, for one, we have the right people we have the right tools, the right equipment that would ensure that we carry these things efficiently. Then we now also we now look at it at, okay, what ways or what time should all of these things be tested and all of that. Honestly speaking, if they have to do it every day for people to stay away from drugs, please. Because again, see, one thing I like about the Western...
But the cost implication.
Wait, you will bring out initiative, you go think about funding as well.
But don't you think that will strain the current budget that we have more?
We have to start from somewhere. We have to start from somewhere. And that's why I wanted to say something. Why maybe again it might not be what they practice, but when we watch some of these movies from the Western, right, you would see that when they bring out certain initiative, they ensure that they think like the people using it. They think like, oh, if I am a drug dealer or someone that abuses this drug, what do you think the person would want to do? How do you think the person wants to run away from certain things? Do you understand? That's the only way you can be able to put certain solutions that would work. Because when you say, oh, you're looking at the funding or you're looking at the financial strain that it will cause, what exactly are you not looking at? Okay, I mean, honestly speaking, I get their point, but I feel like if you want it to work, it will work. Honestly speaking, you can start from somewhere. You don't need the testing whatever to be every day. It can be, I mean, do it like you don't know when Jesus is coming. Exactly. You don't need to tell anybody. None of the students need to know that, oh, we are coming to do the testing. Start from there. You have to start from somewhere. But we start looking at, oh, the financial strain and all, we'll not start anything, honestly speaking.
This is me trying to analyze all forms of the possibilities of Nigeria happening to all of us. So let's say that they're uninformed, you get tested. What's the way forward after that? You get tested, you now... Literally, everybody in NYSC now knows that you used to do drugs,
so
which is some people hide.
Nobody needs to know. That's where content and all of those things come in, right? Now, first off, I want to believe that you have it all figured out. That's the problem that we have in this country. You're supposed to have it all figured out from the beginning to the end. Do you understand? Now, when you're testing these people, are you doing it, in the open space? No, it's not supposed to be like that. It's supposed to be one person coming to the office. It's you and whoever that is doing the testing that should know if this particular person is, is into drugs or yes or not. Now, when you know that, okay, how deep is this person into drug? Is this something that will take probably person has to go to rehabilitation? You have to be able to have all of these things all figured out. Is this someone that you probably need to just talk to, show the person one or two reasons why the person should not go into it? I mean, there should be things like that. You should, when you're creating, an initiative that is this big, do you understand? You're supposed to look at the advantage and disadvantage. What exactly would make this not to work, and put it into consideration so that when you kickstart, you don't stop halfway. Do you understand? So honestly speaking, it's not something that I think should be in the open. Now, when you now have people that are no longer doing drugs, I used to do drugs before, but no longer do drugs, then you speak to them. Do you want to speak to people that are already in the rehabilitation center and all of that? So
they have to put all these things in place before even saying that they want to start testing NYSC core members. Literally. Because that's the point that I really want to drive, that because they have mentioned how this drug testing is going to curb this, curb that. But there have not been any holistic view or step-by-step on how or what maybe what would I call it? Either space, organization, or whatever stuff have been put in place to ensure that these people, if you are tested positive for drug use, either mild, either extreme, either intermediate, in whatever form, will have the right resources to go in from there. We have a comment here where they said, there's, so also you are meant, I don't like calling it. It's always like I'm a very terrible, I don't know how to pronounce it. Go on. But who was saying that there's a proliferation of drugs in Nigeria and tests should be beyond NYSC. God's beauty is right. We need to test everywhere. And then I completely agree with you when you mentioned that, because it started from, so the fact that I run an NGO, I see drug use at every stage. And I'm talking as low as primary school level, where maybe late schoolers are now the one that will go into school and now start to initiate people into small things like tramadol, Refenol, all these very terrible drug use, even down to cigarettes and what do you call this sachet thing that they, all these gin that they just, all these Chelsea, they just chop it
Some will tell you that one is not too extreme. Some will tell you that.
That is drug use. I don't think that a 10-year-old or an 11-year-old should be exposed to such like level of alcohol. So in other way, it's drug abuse, it's drug use, which should not be normal in that stage. But a lot of people, some NYSC members that I have on my timeline are like, hey, you don't go better for government. They are taking the important things. They are not doing the important things. So because of 77,000 naira, they are not trying to say that they want to do drug testing and all of that stuff. So they are taking out the importance of curbing these things. But because of the Nigeria that we also have, there's bound to be mixed reactions. So looking at the governmental part of it, we've spoken about how these people should put things in place, right? How they should take care of people who might be positive for this drug use. How do we now address government actually implementing this thing and ensure that if NYSC's own is successful, they can now go into the likes of all these other areas like the school, the university, slum, before you even get to that place where you want to assumingly serve your country for 1 year, right? Where it's not just a 1 year sober mode. It's now that you are clean from the beginning to the end.
So I think what the government should first of all do is funding, because any initiative would actually need fund for it to strive. Do you understand? So funding is very important, like it's key, because you made mention of the fact that because of the financial strain and all of that, they might not be able to do the test every day and all. But honestly speaking, so we need the government on that one, funding first, right? I'm not saying they should borrow money. They can find their way through this thing. Let me not ask them.
They should cut politicians' money.
It's important. Literally, they're supposed to serve us. Yes, I mean that's going to be a good one. I look forward to something like that actually.
You wish.
Moving on, right? So when we have the funding correct, now help those people with adequate facilities or resources that they will need to carry out this initiative. Do you understand? So when we have when you have the resources and all, now we will now talk about the manpower, because again, I mean, it's okay to have this kind of initiative, but we need people to push it. We need not the kind of people that we see in certain offices that will tell you, please, they never pay us. Can you wait outside? We need people that, when we have the manpower, please pay them well. Do you understand? Because that's also like a very big problem that we have. If you go to, it's just like, when was that? That should be on Saturday. Sorry, there's a lot of things that happened. On Saturday, my dad came and was like, oh, have you gotten this particular certificate? I'm like, ha. You're not this country that we are in now. They're always telling me, go home, we'll call you. They have not called me till today. And the man is like, you're supposed to be on their neck. How do I be on their neck? I'm not the one paying them. Do you understand? So there's literally little or nothing that we can literally do. When it comes to setting things. Do you get? So when we have when we have the manpower, the people that you've called out, oh, let's do this thing together. Please pay them well so that they will have the the good heart to carry out the responsibility. Because again, if you don't pay them well, and we have students that their father or mother has the money. They will pay them on your behalf. You understand where I'm coming from. And at the end of the day, we've not solved anything. Because if you now have students that can give you money for you to leave them because they want to be on drugs and all of that, then we've not solved anything. There's no need for the initiative in the first place. Do you get? So honestly speaking, we have to talk about the funding, talk about the resources, then we'll talk about the manpower, ensuring that you're paying them well, they are okay at all. But trust me, when you have all of these things all checked, then this initiative.
So there has to be, that's basically saying that there have to be strict rules and regulations from the side of the government, the people that they are going to be employing to even carry out this test, and even the NYSC members themselves, where something came to my mind just now, and that is how we are going to get these drug testing kits. Is this something that, this is me talking about innovation now.
I hear you.
Or maybe the idea that, is it Nigeria that is going to be producing these kits? What is the efficiency of this? I want to talk about efficiency because I said it one time that I was in school and in 100 level we're supposed to do something called titration.
Right.
And in the booklet, it was supposed to give us a wine color, but we got blue color. And the lecturer was like, just do it like that. Assume is wine, as they said it inside the book, because that's what they said you should get.
Yeah.
So, first off, is it going to be Nigeria? They didn't give us that information, but I'm just asking that, what idea would you have that? Do you think Nigeria should be the one producing these test kits? And what's the efficacy going to be like? Or we should now start getting from the Western bodies again into which might cost more,
of course,
right, into the country too, or less, to be honest. Because sometimes if you are new to something and you have never done it before, there might be trial and errors that will cost more before you now eventually get it than somebody who has it all figured out. So what's your ideology of, or what's your idea about Nigeria introducing or creating these test kits for drugs?
So first off, I would state that initiatives like this are actually very expensive, especially if you want to do it and do it well. Do you understand? If you want to do it and do it well, emphasis on that actually, because in this country that we are in. Now, whether we import or we produce ourselves, like I said, is going to cost. Do you understand? Do we have the right people that can produce something like that in Nigeria? That's the first question. Do we have the machines that can help us get things like that, the kit and all of that? Very well. Can we, I mean, how many percent, assurance can they give us that, if it's produced here in Nigeria, it will be very effective? Do you understand? So these are the questions that we need to ask. Again, it goes back to funding. Again, it goes back to having the right people on seat that see the initiative and want to put their money into it. Do you understand? So whether we even import from outside the country and bring it here to Nigeria, it's still the same Nigerians that would still, make use of those things to ensure that it's effective and all. So honestly speaking, I don't even think it's really about the importing and all. Like I said, if we have the people that know that see the importance of this initiative and like it enough to want to put their money into it, trust me, it will work. Do you understand? Again, if we have the money, we can be able to get the right people to produce it here in Nigeria. We can get the machineries that we would need to execute something like that. Do you understand? So when we have all of these things in place, what is stopping us really? Nothing. Exactly.
Nothing, my sister. But this is where we go on another short break. And then when we return, we want to talk more about maybe if this mandatory testing doesn't work, what other alternative approach can we, have towards drug testing and drug abuse in Nigeria, especially for the NYSC core members. So please, we'll be back in a jiffy. Stay with us.
Life is made up of moments, some that fill us with joy, others that test our strength. Welcome to Heartlines. This is our space to explore the highs and lows of human connection, the love, the heartbreak, and resilience that shapes our life. From relationships to friendships, parenting to partnerships, and so much more. Every week, we share stories and conversations that define us, navigating love, separations, the struggles of parenting, dealing with anxiety and managing the pressures and stress of life. Real conversations that bring us closer, helping us heal, grow, and connect. So join me Mondays through Fridays at 10 p.m. for Heartlines, the show where we'll connect hearts, have real conversations with real people, one story at a time.
Welcome back to the show. So as I said that when we come back, we will talk about how maybe we can have alternative, approach to this thing. But I'll quickly read a comment here that says, okay, let me read this one first. We have a first timer here. So this person mentioned, Divine mentioned that these people are the ones on drugs, honestly. Now, they need testing because of the increase in allowance. They will still ask for their kidneys and lungs. This is a very That's why I had to quickly read this comment, because it was like, this one was coming for the government straight, that you people are the ones on drugs, like, allegedly, as she said, though, it's not
Now
me.
she talk am.
Now she talk am, no me talk am. So I want you to comment on that.
Hey, wait.
Yes, you will comment. The fact that I rightly mentioned that some people said that the fact that they have increased the alawi to 70,000, that's why they want to. They first said that they were going to increase, they will increase NYSC to 2 year, and then later they said this, they said that. So there's like new proposals from the fact that people are now collecting 77,000. But I'll read another comment where this person mentioned that, Anonymous mentioned that implementing mandatory drug testing for NYSC members could have far-reaching implications. While the intention may be to promote a drug-free environment and ensure core members' well-being, it's crucial to consider potential consequences such as privacy concerns, stigma, and the impact on core members' mental health. A balanced approach that prioritizes education, support, and rehabilitation might be more effective in addressing substance abuse issues. And that's where this alternative approach comes in. The fact that this person is now suggesting that, what about education, support, rehabilitation, rather than public or infiltration into privacy, tampering with mental health and all of these things? But if you really look at it, if they don't test you, how would they ensure that your mental being is all? Because if you look at it, you're not all right already by taking drugs. I'm sorry to say, I'm sorry to be very absolute.
No, I hear you.
Already you're tampering with your
mental health,
mentality. You're tampering with your brain. You're altering what is supposed to function as normal. Some people zoom out when they take substances. So it means that you are altering your brain's process. So is your mental health not already tampered with? It's already tampered. So I feel that the implementation of this thing is where, or the, how would I put it? I'm trying to find the word for it. But the way they will handle it, or the privatization of each individual, will be the thing that will really drive this thing. If a core member is found and is taken for rehabilitation, what are the leaders, or there's a name they call them, let me just call them that, the marshals there. Okay. What is that thing that they're going to tell the fellow member, the other people that, okay, so hereby we are announcing this one of NYSC type 222 and 10 other people are in rehabilitation?
They don't need to do all of that.
That's what I'm saying. That what if they do that because of also having record? If I have 10,000 NYSC core members and all of a sudden the person I sleep next to every day is no longer around, I'm questioning why this person is no longer around. Did they take the person out because of drug testing? Did they take this person out because they have caught this person maybe with another core member? What is the reason? So there's also a need for accountability in that case, where core members are also going to start asking the questions, why this, why that, why? So there needs to be a balanced approach, which is going to take a lot of sitting down, talking about recommendations. There's going to be a lot of deliberations on how they are going to go about it. So if we're going to have an alternative approach from rehabilitation, all these things, they are all intertwined.
Yeah, they are.
If you have gotten tested, even before you get tested, maybe you could come out front and just be like, oh, you don't need to test me. You see what is living inside of me is all drugs. Just take me. I really want to, go into rehabilitation. Maybe rehabilitation is expensive, or I don't know what I should do to stop. And then there might be support system or services that they could tap into without necessarily, which could also reduce the cost of testing. Where I'm already aware that for some reasons I've abused drugs or something, and I can just go straight into rehabilitation, or I can go straight into tapping into support services. So I feel that they are very, intertwined. But if we look at these things, if we look at drug abuse in general, does this not show the broader aspect of how much the society has now deepened.
It's not functioning. Let's use that.
I cannot say it's not
the truth.
functioning. I can
On
just
this
say
one,
that
I'll be
people are now
absolute.
looking for alternative means that are not productive, that are not that thing
Because
that people
most
say
of them
that
don't even know any better. Many of them just want to escape. Emphasis on the mental health that you're making mention of. Now, when you see, again, I would speak from the aspect of, not from a Ajegula they come from, right? Because again, there's something that happens almost every time. You see them everywhere. Do you understand? Now, first off, most of these people, they finish secondary school, they probably, go and learn a skill, or many of them that even go to uni, they probably end up not even finishing at all because, again, there's no money. Do you understand? And the only thing they can do for their mental health to be sane and all is to probably, it starts with, if you take this thing, you go, they're okay.
they okay
most
for 5 seconds.
that is what they don't know.
Temporary.
Hey. At least then they're okay. Then they're okay. They know they're okay. Exactly. Then they're okay. Do you understand? For that few minutes, and for them to always keep, in that sense, being okay, they keep taking it. Or 2 times in a day, 3 times in a day. Before you know, it becomes a norm. They want to add it in every food that they're eating. They put it in their rice, put it in their butter, put it in anything. Do you understand? And that's where it starts from. They keep, they become addicted to it. And at the end of the day, some of them, the situation at the end of the day might be drastic and all. So honestly speaking, it starts from there. There are no jobs, right? You can't take that out. There are no jobs. Even the people that know better, 1 or 2 times, they take. Again, the mentality of, in Ajegule, there's that mentality of for you to belong, for you to be part, for you to be this and that and this, you have to be taking certain kind of things.
1 or 2.
So if they chop bottle, you cannot mingle with people that are eating bottle.
So
Exactly.
with everything that you have said, my personal recommendation for NDLA would be that we should first take out the fact that they need to start doing drug testing for NYSC core members, but now to take it to sensitization, where it's not just core members. They now start to talk about each group, like leave the proposal of testing
to the
NYSC
members,
and they now start taking sensitization home, like where in the slums,
ghetto
in the
areas,
primary schools, all of these places, we now have NDLEA representatives going to inform people about drug use, drug abuse, the implications of drug use, staying clear away from drug use, the side effects, or all of these things that drug abuse can do to you. I think that is a more futuristic and long-term, for a drug-free environment or a drug-free Nigeria. I think that makes more sense to me than just picking a particular group of people and then testing them. And I think that, I hope that for some reasons the NDLEA will take this initiative and just pause this one for a while, or even not necessarily pause it, but then do more of a sensitization.
No, I think they should just expand. So you're starting with the NYSC, fine and good, go to universities. From there, like I said, it's 1 step at a time. Let's not fly. Do you understand? So let's start from somewhere. If you want to start with the NYSC people, good and fine. Because again, it's not enough for us to be talking about educating, creating awareness. Even when we're in secondary school, they taught us this right from primary school. In your basic science, there is drug abuse. Go to secondary, there's drug abuse there, biology and all. So it's not enough. That's what I'm saying. It's not enough for all of those things to be taught in school, and we don't see, also hear people's experiences. So that's why I said they should start from somewhere, right? So when you start from the NYSC people, there are people that are probably gone to the rehabilitation center. They are better now.
So we should
These
talk
are the
more
people.
About sensitization first before even looking at starting whether they want to do drug testing or not.
Because the truth is, no, that's not what I'm saying. They can start hand in hand, whatever that works for them, really. Because again, for all of these initiatives to start, money has to be involved and all of these things. So until you're able to get all that passed before we even start something, do you understand? But what I'm saying is why they are also preaching, because it's not today that we have been preaching on drug abuse and the effects. That's what I was telling you, that both when in primary school and secondary school, it's part of it's probably in one of the subjects. Do you understand? So it's not enough for us to do all of those things. We should also have people that have passed through these things that are ready to come and testify quantify and say, oh, this is what went wrong, this is what happened, and all. Honestly speaking, when people see, the effect that drug has done to, certain people, the damages and all, you would see that there would also be a reason for certain persons to change. So this is just me adding to to the initiative, right? So it's a beautiful one and all of that, but they should also have people that have passed through these things, speak to, people that are already involved in drugs, so that, you can just help with the effectiveness of, more like just solution bound, really. Yeah.
Basically, I think you have said it all, and I already mentioned that my recommendation first would be that test the waters with sensitization. Maybe we have not done enough of sensitization.
Yeah.
So NDA, take this initiative for some reasons. Start from the primary level, get representatives to do maybe every session or whatever, and then there's resource after that. That's just in case somebody has not started, just in case it's their first time, just in case they have done it for too long and they need support services, they can dial a number, or there's the internet where they can put 1 or 2 and then get support for that case before we now move on to drug testing. And that's just my personal opinion. And Gosbiti has also said a lot of things about it. So I'm sure you learned a lot from this conversation. So please ensure that you subscribe to our YouTube channel at Official Upgrade TV. You can interact with us further, drop a comment, and most importantly, follow us on all our social media handles showing on the screen. Remember to like, share, comment, and invite your friends and family to watch us every day. So we come your way again tomorrow. Have a wonderful day ahead and enjoy your holidays. Bye for now.
Hello, you. Yes, you. This is Usayome Sale from Ways Primetime. Now, we appreciate your continued support for watching our content, following us across all our social media. But we've noticed, for those of you watching us on YouTube, 88.5% of you who watch our content aren't subscribed to our channel. Why? Now, if you are enjoying our content, you enjoy our shows, and you want to stay updated on all things Ways, it's time to hit that subscribe button below. Now, subscribing isn't just for you. It's for the growth of our channel. It helps us get bigger and better. With your support, we can continue to bring even more intriguing and exciting content. How about you subscribing right now and being a part of our community?